I was promoted above a colleague and now they won't talk to me and dismiss everything that I say in meetings. It's getting really awkward and I'm upset because I thought we were friends. What do I do?
Yeah, common. I mean, again, I think the first thing, so context here is also really important. Have you now become their line manager?
Their boss, yeah.
So that's that can change the dynamics in many respects. But you know, by the same token, we're a workplace, and you will have been promoted for a certain reason as a result of your effort and the work that you've been doing. So you should not feel guilty about that. The first call out for me is do not feel guilty about your promotion, because I think that's where this could very quickly go. And then the second thing, again, is to have a conversation about it to this individual and say, you know, hey, I've been observing that our relationship seems to have changed a bit since this promotion happened. Can we have a chat about that? Or how has this promotion for me made you feel? Because, you know, maybe short of having a conversation, I'm not really sure there is much else you can do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that we've had some instances in the agency where, particularly when we've promoted to a top leadership level from within, you know, there's a testing period. You may just be being tested by your friend. You know, there's a bit of we can sometimes observe some behaviours from other team members who thought that they were ready for the promotion but maybe didn't get it. And so actually it's also up to management to make sure that they're having conversations. If this friend did go for the same role, then your leadership team should be having conversations with them as well about what their career plan looks like and where they're going to go. But equally, you know, you want to have it sounds like there's an emotional conversation that needs to be had. Don't make it about you, make it about them. But then there's a rational conversation that your leadership team need to have with your peers to make sure everyone is clear on you know, why you're in this role, what the requirement is for you in this role, where they fit within the bigger plan. I suspect it's not personal. I suspect it's that they individually are feeling a bit lost within the bigger picture of things. So that's what they need to resolve. And that's why it's so important that you individually don't take on any guilt, you know.
I think it's interesting how you talked about that as well, of like leadership has to take responsibility on why someone is promoted and what the qualities are and what they have, what they're achieving, which is why they have that role, because then it becomes much more rational rather than emotional. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just, you know, you can't just kind of go in and go, why didn't I get the promotion, right? Yeah. Like, so, and this is where pen and paper just become your best friend still. So, like, you know, get all the emotion out on the page first, because it'll come and you need to, and then go back, look at it with fresh eyes and just pull out the rational arguments, because leadership teams can work with the rational stuff. That's what we're in these jobs to be able to do. We need to do it through the lens of empathy, absolutely. But actually, empathy also means having difficult conversations with people. And I think that's, you know, that's where a lot of agency leaders do fail. I think that there's a lot of agency leaders that are good fun time leaders that are happy to go and sit at the pub and have a beer with you, and think that they can build culture that way, but very few that are prepared to really get in, understand who their team is, what their team needs, and how to create a high-performance culture.
We see this a lot, and some of the questions that, you know, I would love to ask, or sometimes it's relevant, is, you know, who's been in the job longer? A lot of it is often tenure related, and a lot of it is often can be age related. But I guess there's a psychological process too that happens within a team when a team changes, particularly if a team member is promoted to be that team's leader. And so part of what needs to happen there, and Kimberly, you talked about this, so I'm just really repeating what you've said, but part of what needs to happen is reestablishing boundaries of your new role and how you relate to the group that used to be your peers, and re-establishing relationships with those people and relationships with other people that now in your new role you'll need to develop or change. And so that period of adjustment is equally difficult for the person who is adjusting and for the people who is adjusting to that person. And I think respect for that process to take place is vital. And, you know, it's part of the territory that people are going to have an emotional response to that, and the way, you know, it's how you manage that.
Yeah, I think, and those peer relationships do change. I remember just a little side anecdote. At one point, when I've moved roles multiple times within TBWA, and when I moved one of my roles, there was a peer that I used to spend a lot of time, you know, working with. And then the new role didn't require it because it was a different job. And I remember he said to me at one point, he's like, man, I thought you were so pissed off with me for like the first 4 months of when you changed roles. And I said, why is that? And he said, because you just stopped talking to me. And I said, right. He said, you know, you'd still be like friendly and say hello, but you just didn't spend any time with me anymore. And I was like, okay. And so we sat down, we had a conversation about that. I totally overlooked it. It just didn't even register to me in that moment. So there might be a bit of that as well. It might be that you're not spending as much time with this person as what you could be their safety blanket.
Mm-hmm.
And you just don't know that. You just don't know how much investment they actually had in your friendship, and therefore what that gap has created for them.
Yeah. It all comes back to that truth, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like if you can think all of these things, and they just mightn't be an ounce of truth to them unless you can, I guess, address them with the person straight on.
Just the honesty and the transparency and the vulnerability.
Yeah.